And on the case that we're going to be discussing today, our lead investigator, Lieutenant Justin Brown. I'll read the press release right now. The Oxford County Sheriff's Office has concluded its investigation regarding the sexual assault that was reported in Newry on April 2nd. After consultation with the District Attorney's Office and analyzing of statutory requirements within the Freedom of Access Act and the Criminal History Information Act, the Oxford County Sheriff's Office is confident in releasing the following information. On April 2nd, 2017, Lieutenant Justin Brown of the Oxford County Sheriff's Office began an investigation into a gross sexual assault that took place in Newry, Maine. The victim, witnesses, and informants in the investigation will remain confidential for protection against unwarranted invasion of their personal privacy. The one and only suspect who was identified through victim and witnesses information was Thomas Johnston, 48 years old, of Old Orchard Beach, Maine. Our investigation shows that Johnston was at the residence and was identified during the commission of the sexual assault. Johnston left the residence before deputies arrived on scene and was later reported as a missing person by the Old Orchard Police Department. Johnston was found deceased on Thursday, April 6, 2017, in a wooded area by the Auburn Police Department. A report with redacted confidential information is available for you today on request. Do we have any questions?
Can you just speak to the fact that he's deceased now, he's not here to defend himself against these allegations? How does that play into your investigation and how you proceed with this?
We are confident that we had plenty of witnesses that we interviewed, and they all can confirm that Mr. Johnston was in fact at that building, and Mr. Johnston in fact was in the room where this crime occurred.
Sheriff, after meeting with the district attorney, would he have been charged if he were still alive with this crime?
Yes, he would have.
Sheriff, can you say what time this happened and exactly where?
I believe the chief deputy can address that. Do you have the times? It was in the late evening of April 1st.
Late as far as after 10 o'clock?
No, it was prior to that.
Prior to that.
The exact location won't be revealed simply to protect the victims and witnesses.
Were the other witnesses in the room at the time the alleged crime happened, or were they in a separate room?
I think you'll see in the report that we passed out that people confronted him in the residence.
Sure.
In that room.
Can you say if there was any relationship between suspect and victim? Was this a party? Like, what were the circumstances?
I believe there was no known relationship prior to that incident.
Was there alcohol being consumed? Can you talk about that?
There was some alcohol consumed, that's correct.
Are you releasing the victim's age?
No, we did not.
And you won't at this point?
We are not.
Was she an adult or was she a juvenile?
The victim, adult, yes.
Adult.
Yes.
Had you guys had any contact with Johnston after the report of the crime and prior to his death?
We did not, no.
Did he know that he was the subject of an investigation?
I would think when you see the report that we passed out, I believe he was.
Do you guys know, was this an isolated incident, or are you guys investigating whether there's any other victims, other suspects, anything like that?
In our investigation, we have not come up with any other victims or any other suspects, period.
Sheriff, it's now been more than a month since this happened. Is that the typical amount of time that it takes for an investigation like this?
Sometimes it can take longer, but I think in a case like this, you have to remember that the town of Newry and the town of Bethel are very transient populations all year round. A lot of visitors, a lot goes on in the mountain. At any given time, we can have an additional 20,000 people in the Bethel Newry area. And when you start dealing with transient people, it's difficult finding witnesses, or we have to travel longer distance to be able to interview people.
Sheriff, other than the witnesses, was there other evidence that you found, any DNA linking him to this crime?
You'll see in the report that we did take some samples that we did send in for DNA. We do not have any results as of yet.
Sheriff, was the victim feeling that she was in trouble when this was happening? I mean, is that how other people came? Did other people try to intervene, and did they call you, or did she call you?
We were called by the victim and the victim's friend.
So was she feeling that she was in a bad situation and asking for help from other people who were there?
She had help from friends to go to be checked at a hospital. Yes.
Sheriff, were you called before the detective talked to her at the hospital? Or is that the first reporting of the crime was at Bridgton Hospital?
That was the first reporting, yes.
Where does this go from here? I mean, he's passed away. You can't charge him. For all intents and purposes, is this investigation closed?
That's why we had a press release today, because the case is closed, and what is available that we can give to the public, then that's what we're doing today, yes.
Can you give us a more specific time frame? Because it's kind of important to our reporting to understand a more specific time frame.
What time frame do you mean?
The time that the crime allegedly happened.
It was approximately 8:30 in the evening when the crime occurred. And it was reported in the early morning hours the following day.
Was his employer ever made aware that he was a suspect in this prior to today?
No, we wouldn't reveal anything to anybody. As we said, we stayed with the confidentiality that we have to go by, and we can certainly understand the concerns of where he worked, but we could not reveal anything that we did not give to anybody else.
Do you know where the two people met? Did they meet at the house, or did they meet somewhere else?
There was a lot of activity going on in Newry that particular night. In fact, Mr. Johnston was a host of an activity that was going on the mountain. And through our investigation, that's where a lot of people met, and several went to a different location after.
I don't know if you guys have, I'm sure you guys have talked to the victim in this case. I mean, this is sort of a lack of justice in a way. I mean, can you characterize how she feels about the way this is ended?
I can't make any comments on that whatsoever.
And Sheriff, just to confirm, between when this alleged incident happened and when his body was found, no one from the sheriff's office had any contact with him, either by phone or voicemail or in person?
Correct. That is correct. We had no other contact. It ended up with the Old Orchard Police Department and the Auburn Police Department, but we had no more contact after he left Newry on April 2nd.
And a follow-up, what about with his friends or family? Was anyone in contact with them who may have relayed a message to him that the Oxford County Sheriff's Office was looking for him in connection with this incident?
That we don't know. We haven't got any information that anybody contacted him at all.
Were there must have been efforts to try to track him down if people at the site of the incident said he was the one. I mean, what was the sheriff's office doing prior to the missing persons report to try to track him down?
Well, just a short time after that, we had the missing person report. We were just trying to locate where he was. We were talking about, we still had we still had individuals we had to still interview. That's why the detective had to find out those that were at the scene. So we knew eventually we'd be able to try to find him. But our concern right now is to establish a case to confirm that we really, in fact, did have a case.
Could you talk about what the charge would have been if he were alive and you were charging him?
Yeah, I believe it would have been a gross sexual assault class B.
And what is the nature of that crime? Does it imply any kind of circumstances surrounding the nature of what happened?
But if you go into Title 17A, you'll see it's very specific on each type of the crime. So it would spell it out on the Class B, what has to take place in order to reach that standard.
And why did it take so long to release Johnston as the suspect in this case?
Because the case was open. It was an open investigation under the Freedom of Access Act. We have to protect victims, suspects, witnesses, locations.
I think there's been a lot of questions about why he wasn't kind of publicized as a missing person for a few days. If there's a sexual predator who is at large, why wasn't it put out there to the public for a few days?
Well, one, he was a missing person by Old Orchard Police Department, so, and we were still doing our investigation. There wasn't a need that we felt at the time that the public was in danger.
Even though the two didn't know each other, the suspect and the victim?
That we're not sure of. They could, I don't know.
And Sheriff, when you investigate a crime like this, is it usual to look at other circumstances that may have been going on in somebody's life at that time? And did you discover anything that played into this investigation in that regard?
Nothing at this time.
Just to clarify, you said that you believe that Johnston was aware that he was the subject of the investigation. Can you say why that is?
Well, I think you'll see that if you ask for a copy of that report, you'll see how he hastily left the place quickly. There's a reason you leave like that.
He was confronted by people at the party at the time.
That he was, correct.
And at this point, you believe there's one victim and no more?
We have no other victims. I think that's it.
Thank you, Sheriff.
All right, thank you. I'll give you a copy of the press release.
Your 8 notes.